Okay, so we are going to have our 1199 SEIU long-term care colleague, Deborah Williams, provide an LTC update, including highlights from our recent LTC summit, which was absolutely fabulous. We're going to have our hospital member organizer, Chiquita Brunson. She will outline recent union victories at UHealth Tower in Miami. And our special guest speaker, Lauren Brenzel. She is the campaign director for Floridians Protecting Freedom. Lauren's organization is leading the fight to restore access to women's healthcare and reproductive freedom that were stripped by the state legislator and the governor this past legislative session. Lauren, I want to thank you very much for being here today, and let's go ahead and get started with you.
Awesome. I'm so excited to be here today. If we can go into the next slide, we can just get into it today. So I'm Lauren Brenzel. I'm coming here from Floridians Protecting Freedom. Sophia and Roxy and Coy know I'm a huge fan of the Healthcare Workers Union. Super happy to be here and happy to have had experiences working alongside SEIU. I am incredibly grateful that y'all are joining the fold of the campaign. The power that you bring to every campaign you are on is incredible. And we're so deeply appreciative at FPF to join forces with you and to work together to protect reproductive health care access in this state. And if we could go to the next slide. So Floridians Protecting Freedom is a group of multiple organizations that came together during the overturn of Roe v. Wade and with the implementation of the 15-week ban and the passage of the 6-week ban in order to protect reproductive health care access here in the state. So it's ACLU of Florida, it's Florida Rising, many FFA partners for folks who have worked with Florida for All before, Planned Parenthood in state, and Florida Women's Freedom Coalition and Women's Voices. Women's Voices is a really, really amazing grassroots mobilization organization in state. If you don't know who they are, you should definitely look them up because they do a lot of incredible organizing that I think members would really appreciate. And now SEIU 1199 is also at the table. And then we've been incredibly grateful to have coalition support from over 200 organizations statewide, very locally and nationally, folks who know that reproductive health care access in Florida is absolutely essential, not only for women in Florida, but women throughout the entirety of the Southeast. And we can go to the next slide. So why do we need this? During the 2023 session, Florida passed a 6-week abortion ban. And this happened despite the fact that both Republicans and Democrats voted against this ban. People know that these kind of extreme bans are incredibly unpopular. And this is a particular concern because we've already seen major issues with the 15-week ban here in Florida. So after they make a ruling in the courts on the 15-week ban, which we think will very likely be this fall, we will see within 30 days a 6-week ban go into effect. And there won't be places for patients who need care to go. So there were 80,000 patients who were seen for abortion care in Florida last year, and that includes elective abortions, but it also includes people who have had miscarriages and need a DNC. It includes DNEs, it includes medically necessary abortion. It's everybody who could possibly access abortion care. And the next access states, which are South Carolina, North Carolina, and Virginia, can see a max of 53,000 patients a year. So there is nowhere for the patients of Florida to go when they need to access this care after a 6-week ban goes into effect. And furthermore, we have a restriction in the entirety of the Southeast. So there is no care in Texas, there is no care in Louisiana, there is no care in Alabama, there is no care in Mississippi. There's a 6-week ban in Georgia. The entire Southeast is struggling with access to care. And this puts women and their families at risk. The majority of women who have abortions are already parents. It puts people who are in life-threatening situations at risk. In the state of Florida right now, if you have a fatal fetal diagnosis, you need 2 physicians to affirm that before you can receive care. And because of these extensive laws, many people don't feel comfortable being one of those certifying physicians. So we have already seen cases in Florida where women who have a pregnancy where they know that their infant won't live 2 hours outside of the womb have been forced to either give birth to a stillborn or to drive to South Carolina in order to obtain care. And that's not an acceptable policy framework, and it helps evidence for us why we need politicians out of these private healthcare decisions and why we should be relying on doctors to make these private healthcare decisions instead. So if you go into the next slide, you'll see this is the frame that we really need to use to talk about this amendment. We believe, and the vast majority of Floridians believe, that we should have the ability to make our own personal healthcare decisions without interference from politicians. Nobody knows better than healthcare workers that politicians don't know what your day-to-day looks like. They don't understand patient care. They don't understand patient flow. They don't understand what it's like to work in a hospital or in a doctor's office, and they shouldn't be regulating safe, legal medical procedures in ways that make it more dangerous for women throughout our state. Florida lawmakers have voted time and time and again to restrict abortion, even banning it as early as 6 weeks before many women even realize that they are pregnant. And the state's abortion ban forces Floridians to leave the state for care or else carry pregnancy despite threats to their health. And Floridians, not politicians, should decide what's best for their own lives and their own bodies. And we want them to vote yes to put the decision back in the hands of Florida families and their doctors, not extreme politicians. So, this is a really important narrative for us to carry because we don't really see this as being a hyper-partisan or hyper-political issue. We need 60% of the vote to win this amendment. And we know that we can do it because this actually isn't about politicians. Your patients don't come to you as Republicans, Democrats, or independents. They come to you as patients who are looking for care. And if we can go to the next slide. So in this phase right now, what we are doing is collecting as many signatures as we possibly can. We are in the first phase of the campaign. So right now we're trying to build different work to make sure that we're talking to press, that we're speaking to different constituency groups, that we're agitating and organizing already. But the crux of all of our organizing has to be about petition collection, because by December, we need to collect 1.25 million signatures to make sure that we have the 891,000 verified signatures that we need to get this on the ballot. And I want to go to the next slide because I'm really excited to tell you where we're at as of today. So we are working with PCI consulting firm, and they have collected signatures in 7 of the last 8 successful ballot initiatives in the state of Florida. So they did the medical marijuana petition, they did Amendment 4 petition, they did the $15 minimum wage that SEIU is a big part of, and they're now working on this petition. And this is within the first 50 days, we collected 500,000. I want to give the update of actually where we are today. 550,000 petitions have been collected in the state of Florida towards our 1.25 million petition goal. So we are almost at the halfway point for number of petitions collected. And what's even more exciting about this to me is that 18% of that is from volunteers. So 100,000 of our petitions have come from volunteers in the state of Florida and coalition partners who have worked together, who have canvassed at major events, who have talked to their friends and families, who have made sure that we get the petitions that we need and that we're able to do it for no cost at all, just the cost of people printing a piece of paper and submitting it to us. So we're incredibly grateful for that and incredibly excited to grow that program. We started off thinking that we could get 100, maybe 150,000 petitions. And now, since we've already surpassed that 100,000 goal, we think that realistically volunteers and coalition partners in the state of Florida could collect upwards of 300,000 petitions. And right now with the state, it's really early because the state lags behind in reporting, but our verification rate as of right now with the state is 84%, which we're super excited about. And if we could go to the next slide. So how to collect petitions? It's super easy. Online, you can access a petition form. I'm going to drop the link in the chat right now for that a few times. And you print this petition form and you ask strangers or friends or families or coworkers to fill it out. We've found that even though this can be kind of a scary issue to talk about with people, again, 70% of people that we polled on the language support this initiative. So it's not anyone from any political party who cares about it. It's not religious or non-religious people who care about it. It doesn't define by age or race or class. Floridians support this issue and they want to see this on the ballot and they want to see this out of the hands of politicians. So all you have to do to collect petitions is go up to somebody, you're going to ask them if they'd like to sign a petition to get abortion access on the ballot in 2024, to protect women's rights in 2024, or to remove politicians from healthcare decisions in 2024. And the second question you're going to ask them is if they're a registered voter in the state of Florida. Only Florida registered voters can sign this petition. So it is absolutely essential that you ask them if they're a registered voter in the state of Florida. Something you can do on top of that, because it's a great way to intro, somebody's super interested in signing this petition, and then you find out that they're not a registered voter and they are eligible to vote, you can send them the link for the state's website to sign up for voter registration. It's a really great way to get people engaged on that question without having to go up to them and ask them, like, are you registered to vote and can we register you? The next thing you're going to do is give them the form to fill out. And then before they walk away, you want to look at everything that's on the form to make sure it's filled out correctly. So they're going to put their last name, their first name, and their middle name. You want to make sure that they've put down all of that information. They don't need their middle name, but it would be great if they had it. You want to make sure that they put down all of their address. And something really interesting to note about this, you can see on here where it says county. One of the #1 mistakes that people make is that they will write the country, USA, instead of county. So you always want to be making sure that people actually write out the county so that the petition doesn't get invalidated. And then they're going to put their date of birth or their voter registration number. They don't have to have both. They just need one of those. And then they're going to sign it and put today's date. This is another area that you really have to watch out for to make sure that people have actually put their full signature and dated it, because if you don't have that, it's automatically invalidated. And then if we could go to the next slide. There's also a few options for dropping off petitions. So #1 option, you can mail any petitions that you get into the campaign. I'm going to give Coy access to a cover sheet, and I'm also going to share it here. The cover sheet is super simple to fill out, and it's something that you bundle with your petitions to make sure that SEIU 1199 gets credit for the petitions that they collect. We have some healthy competition. I have to say the League of Women Voters have already collected 13,000 petitions in the state of Florida. You don't have to do it, but if you want it to be credited to the work you're doing with this organization, with your union, it's great to fill that out. Yes, Edward, that's a great point. We'll get to the questions. That's an awesome point. The second option that you have is to go to a community hub to drop off petitions. And that's also a space that you can pick up more petitions. So I put a picture of a map here and I listed the link. If you go online, you can look at our map of hubs and you can click on the icons that show up purple or green or purple or yellow to see where you can get new petitions from and where you can submit petitions that have already been collected. And it really is as simple as that. It's a super easy process. You have people fill out their information, you check to make sure the information is correct, and then you submit it to the campaign. Other things that we recommend, if you see any opposition or anybody tries to argue with you about this issue, it's not worth engaging them. Same as when you're doing door knocking and you don't want to waste all of your time when you're trying to knock doors, convincing folks who cannot be convinced. It's great to have complex conversations with people, but it's not great to spend all of your effort and energy trying to win somebody over who's clearly not going to be won over. And you also may need to have the full text of the amendment available for the voter to read if they request it. That is available on our webpage. You can pull up with that petition link if you click into it. So if we could go to the final slide. This is just all of our social media listed, but while you are taking a look at that, I'd love to answer any questions that people have about how to collect petitions, about this amendment and how it came to be, about why we think that this is important. Yes, Roxy, I can read the ballot language. That's really important. So the ballot language is super simple for this petition. What it says is that no law shall prohibit, penalize, or delay or restrict access to abortion before viability, or when necessary to protect the patient's health as determined by a patient's healthcare provider. This amendment does not change the legislature's constitutional authority to require notification to parental or guardian consent before an abortion. So all it outlines is that we're removing politicians from those decisions and letting doctors be the main arbiter of decisions around abortion access in accordance with their patients.
I just wanted to come off mute and just say thank you to Lauren and the team from Floridians Protecting Freedom to come on, share the information. with our nursing home and hospital workers and staff. Just to say that 1199 is fully committed to making sure that, politicians stay out of healthcare decisions, and that we as 1199 will do our job and do our part to make sure that this issue gets on the ballot and gets in front of the voters. I want our members on the line to know that we've already politically contributed to the effort, and we are fundraising as we speak to try and help and make sure this campaign will be a successful one.
Thank you.
Thank you, Roxy. We got one more hand from Daryl, and then I'm gonna wrap us and pass it back to Amy. Daryl, what's your question?
So when you say this, it was a 15-week ban, and when you say it's a 6-week ban, does that mean the time that you become pregnant, correct?
It means from your last menstrual period. This is a really interesting question. So for a 6-week ban, it could be 2 weeks post-conception, and most people can't test until around 4 weeks pregnant or 5 weeks pregnant. So it gives people about a week in most cases to try to access abortion, which is also with a 24-hour waiting period in place. So the timeline is so tight, and the number of visits you have to do are so extensive. And then the additional issue with that is, again, it doesn't provide exemptions. It doesn't provide fair exemptions for people who have fatal fetal abnormalities. So there's been an example here recently. There's a man named Derek Cook, and his wife's name is Anya Cook, and Anya was pregnant. She was 16 weeks, and she went to a doctor and found out that her twins were not going to survive. And she was forced to travel to South Carolina in order to obtain an abortion. It's a medically necessary abortion, but it's still an abortion because providers in state didn't feel comfortable certifying that for her. And there was another woman named Deborah Dobert who had the same situation at play, and she was forced to give birth to a child who died within 2 hours. So it is the time frame that they're banning it, and it's also that these bans don't have care for what actually happens in a pregnancy. Pregnancies, as y'all know, as medical providers, are incredibly complicated. And when we try to write really overarching and simplistic laws that don't take providers' actual ability to give care into account, they don't account for the very unique situations that occur for all different kinds of patients in the state of Florida.
We got one more question from Aaron.
Okay, sorry with another technical question, but
No, don't be sorry. I love a technical question.
if when my wife fills out her petition form, can I drop off mine and hers at the local community place, or I'm not allowed to do that?
That was a great question. You can drop them off for other people. You obviously cannot commit forgery. They have to fill out the petitions themselves. And particularly, they can't type the date of the signature. It has to be a wet signature and a wet date of when they signed. But you can get forms from all kinds of other people and submit them.
Okay, great.
Well, thank you all so much for having me today.
No, thank you, Lauren, so much. We knew that this summer was going to be a summer where we need to act, and we needed to use our voices as healthcare workers in multiple ways and fashions. And, the ability for us to talk to our staff, not our staff, but our members inside the facility, our coworkers, our families, and our friends about an issue that is core to democracy. No matter what side of the line you stand on, you have the ability to make a choice. You as a voter will be able to put something on the ballot that will allow you as an individual to have a voice and a say either way. And again, thank you so much, Lauren, for joining us. And I'm gonna pass this back to our sister Amy so we can continue with the call.
All right. Thank you, Coy and Lauren. Thank you so much. Okay, everybody. We're going to move to Deborah Williams. She's going to provide some LTC updates. Deborah?
Good evening, 1199. I'm Deborah Williams, a delegate at Tamarack Rehab. I'm excited to be able to give you a report about the LTC Summit. It was an awesome event that was very informative. Overall, the LTC Summit was a great experience, and it was thought-provoking, inspiring, and a great opportunity for nursing home workers to join in fellowship, sharing our stories and challenges and charting our path together to build a strong union and improve the quality of care in our nursing homes. I would take the lessons learned from the summit and share it with my coworkers. And I'm looking forward to the next summit.
All right, Deborah, thank you so much. And I'm with you. That summit was absolutely amazing. It was so awesome to see all my brothers and sisters, across Florida. Absolutely amazing. We had a good time. We learned a lot. Oh, the whole marshmallow building thing. Mine fell down. So I got to work on that, I guess. But thank you again, Deborah. We appreciate that update. So moving forward, I'm going to introduce Chiquita Brunson. She's going to cover some of the UHT victories. Chiquita?
Hello, everyone. I'm Shaquita Brunson. I'm from UMH, UHealth Towers. I'm just going to talk on some brief things that we have accomplished in such a short time. We have recruited, retained, and reorganized employees to improve consistency of care and teamwork. We have secured wages increases ranges from $1 to $8 per hour, 2% to 28%, depending on job titles, years of experience, certification, etc. Increased the minimum pay rates for more than 30 job titles, created career ladders for internal promotions and pay, won fair pay and equal pay grievances, implemented additional pay for training, and or monitoring new hires for everyone in the facility. Permanent retention bonus up to $10 per hour in the hardest hit departments from the pandemic. Enhanced retirement packages up to 8% after 1 year of service. Reduce agency nurses from 300 plus down to 44. Expanded training and educational benefits. Protected safety and privacy of employees from social media attacks. Increased workers' participation, storytelling, and facts presentation to resolve over 80 problems in the past 3 months. So in the past 3 months, we have been working extremely hard, and we have won victories, and these are some of the victories we have won. This experience personally to me has been overwhelming but exciting. Also, I feel like as healthcare workers moving ahead, and the reason it matters to our community, because if the employees are happy, when the community is coming in to be served, we will serve the community as best as we can. So if you have any questions, you can ask me anything, and I'm just thankful to be here to give you guys this update.
Thank you, Chiquita. I do apologize for mispronouncing your name, sister. So is there anybody that has any questions?
That's okay. Thank you.
That's an amazing stuff you guys have done over at the hospital. That is awesome. I know that's really hard work. We did our contract and extremely tough, and you guys stood strong and you did it. And I applaud you for that, sister, very much so.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Any questions? Any hands up?
One, you have Joseph.
Joseph?
Hey, good evening. I'm great work, by the way. I'm seeing that you said you guys reduced agency nurses from 300 down to 44. As I'm an organizer for HCA, of course, is a hospital just like yours. How did you guys reduce the agency numbers down from 300 and get it down to 44?
Basically, that is our positions are bargaining union positions. So by that happening, we request that we get bargaining union employees in those positions. We went to HR and requested those things, and that's how we were able to get those numbers down, because a lot of the agency workers were lingering from the pandemic. So we know that if we get our own people in, we could get more memberships that will be a part of our union.
Right on, right on. Appreciate you, sister. Great work.
Thank you.
All right, next question from Daryl.
Yes, I'm looking at the chart when it says you implemented the additional pay for training. That's around training the new hires, correct?
Correct. We
Okay, and one. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we have a. So anytime that you're supposed to get paid, not students, but any newcomer workers, you're supposed to get paid, and we have that implemented within our contract.
Okay, anybody else? Any more questions?
You have no hands raised.
All right. Thank you so much, Jaquita. We appreciate that. And we'll be looking forward to more information. Okay, I want to thank you all. I want to thank all the speakers and the participants for their input on tonight's call. We all have to stay active and engaged to achieve the goals we highlighted earlier for our workplace, home, and communities. Some special actions that we should all do. So let's continue to submit our staffing issues or even other work concerns. I believe, yeah, there we go. There's the website. Let's register to participate in a lobby visit with local and state elected officials. Let's sign the Floridians Protecting Freedom petition. Let's talk to our organizers about any of these issues or ideas that you might have. So before I close tonight, I just want to remind everybody, we are on this call because of our values. We believe in true freedom and fairness. We stand up for justice, equality, and opportunity. And you know, these are our values. These are our visions, and this is our voice. So join these lobby visits, share them staffing stories, sign up members, encourage people to pay PAC, because this is what we do to not only protect us as workers, but protect our patients in the hospital, protect our residents in the nursing homes, and to help protect our community. And please mark your calendars for our next WCC. It will be August 17th. And if there's no further questions.
What are we discussing on August 17th?
What we are pushing for is an update from CMS and to talk about the qualified Medicaid aid legislation that passed in 2023.
Nice.
So for all the CNAs that want to find out about, you know, what are the new rules around being able to take the role that allows you to push medication in the nursing home, we really want to get, you know, folks on the line so they can ask questions about what that means for them in August. We'll be doing an in-service about that. It'd be really great to have as many of your coworkers on as possible to learn about it. Thanks, Coy. Thanks, Amy.
Absolutely, Roxy. Thanks for asking that question. That was good information. All right. Well, all else being said, I guess I will see you guys on August 17th. Please put that on your calendar. We're looking forward to all the dialogue on in. Thank you again, and everybody have a great evening.
Good night,
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night. Good night, everyone.
Good night.